Have you heard about the Buddhist tradition of putting salt in your shoes? Do you know the exact purpose of this ancient practice rooted in Buddhist wisdom and Eastern medicine? Salt is known for its many uses beyond cooking. You've likely tried several thanks to kitchen advice from elders. It's a powerful ally, and according to recent research, isn't the main cause of high blood pressure. Its benefits extend beyond this. Salt is valuable for household cleaning, helping to purify and sanitize. As a saline solution, it's effective for disinfecting wounds and skin abrasions and serves as an exfoliant, anti-dandruff treatment, bath additive, and more. Yet, few realize that for Buddhists, placing salt in shoes holds deep spiritual and medical significance. As we'll explore in the Zen story coming up, stay tuned to discover 5 compelling reasons to try it yourself. Stick around until the end for a revelation that will leave you amazed. And before we continue, if you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications for updates on our latest content. In the heart of a valley surrounded by the mystical aura of the Japanese mountains, stood an ancient Buddhist monastery, guardian of age-old wisdom and a place of refuge for those seeking inner peace. In this place, where time seemed to have stopped, lived the elderly and venerated monk Makoto, whose wisdom and profound understanding of the ways of Buddhism and Oriental medicine shone like the light of a candle in the night. One morning, as the golden rays of the sun filtered through the branches of the trees, Makoto gathered his disciples in the monastery cloister for one of the usual lessons. With a serene expression, he invited them to sit in a circle around him and began to speak in a warm and reassuring voice. Every step we take on the path of life is a sacred journey, the monk began, a path that leads us to knowledge of ourselves and the universe that surrounds us. Just as when facing a long and tiring journey, it is necessary to prepare adequately, so also in our earthly existence, we must be ready to face the challenges that await us. The disciples listened, enraptured by their master's words. When Makoto mentioned the ancient custom of putting salt in shoes, their minds opened to the wonder of a tradition as ancient as it was mysterious. This practice, Makoto continued, has roots that go back to the remotest past, when our ancestors walked through wild and impervious lands. In those distant times, salt was not just a condiment to enrich foods, but a precious commodity, a symbol of purity and protection. The senior monk took a moment's pause, letting the words settle like delicate sand in the minds of his disciples, and then continued. I will now explain to you the 5 main reasons why the practice of putting salt in your shoes is so significant and important for our spiritual path and for our health in general. First, Makoto said, salt has the power to absorb moisture, just as the Buddha absorbed the suffering of the world. When we put salt in our shoes, it helps us keep our steps light and agile. In Buddhist practice, humidity is often associated with the heaviness of worries and suffering that we carry with us along the path of life. Just as the weight of water filling our shoes in the rain slows and weighs down our pace, so the worries and tensions of the mind can hinder our progress towards inner peace and enlightenment. Putting salt in your shoes symbolizes the desire to free yourself from this burden, to let go of worries, and to maintain a lightness of spirit, despite the challenges encountered along the way. Salt acts as an absorbent of these worries, allowing our steps to remain light and agile as we proceed in our search for inner peace and wisdom. To enhance the meaning of this aspect, Makoto told them the story of an old fisherman who, during a storm, had saved his boat from breaking thanks to a bag of salt that he had thrown on the deck to absorb the water. The second reason to put salt in your shoes, Makoto continued, is that salt has purifying properties. By assimilating impurities, salt purifies our path, freeing it from harmful influences and spiritual obstacles. Putting salt in our shoes, therefore, is a way to protect our mind and spirit from the deceptions and temptations of the outside world. To better explain this idea, the monk shared with his disciples the story of a traveler who, during his journey, had encountered a river infested with evil spirits. Thanks to the salt in his shoes, he was able to cross the river unscathed, protecting his mind and spirit from negative influences. The third reason, Makoto continued, is that salt helps us maintain balance. Just as the mountains that surround us are symbols of stability and strength, putting salt in our shoes also helps us to root ourselves in the earth and to remain steadfast in the face of the storms of life. The mountains surrounding the monastery represent the image of stability and strength, said the monk. Just as these towering rock formations remain steadfast, even in the face of the most violent storms, so we too must learn to maintain our inner stability as we face life's challenges. Putting salt in your shoes symbolizes this balance. The salt, in fact, acts as an anchor for our steps, stabilizing them and preventing unwanted falls along our path. When we walk with salted shoes, we feel more solid and rooted to the ground, as if we have a deep connection with the earth itself. This balance not only affects the body, but also the mind and spirit. Therefore, following this practice is an invitation to find the right balance between the different dimensions of our existence, between work and rest, between action and contemplation, between joy and sadness, between good and evil. When we manage to maintain this balance, we can face life's challenges with serenity and determination, without being shaken by the ups and downs we encounter along the spiritual path. To make the concept clearer, Makoto told them the story of a young monk who, during meditation on the banks of a stormy mountain stream, had found perfect balance thanks to the salt he brought with him. As the disciples became more and more involved with the stories of their spiritual guide, Makoto continued with the fourth reason. Salt also has healing properties. In Oriental medicine, salt is considered a natural remedy to relieve pain and tension. Putting salt in your shoes can soothe not only the physical discomforts, but also the mental ones that we encounter along our spiritual path. To demonstrate this idea, the monk shared with his disciples the story of a farmer who, suffering from an open wound on his foot, had found relief by immersing his foot in a saline solution. Continuing with the fifth reason, Makoto talked about how putting salt in your shoes was a gesture of gratitude. Salt is a precious gift from the earth, and using it mindfully reminds us to be grateful for all that life offers us, both the joys and the challenges, said the master. The disciples listened to Makoto's words with deep reverence, grasping the wisdom behind that seemingly simple gesture. But the monk wasn't finished yet. Looking his disciples straight in the eyes, he added, "My dears, there is a reason linked to this practice that I wanted to leave until last due to its importance. Putting salt in your shoes is a rite of passage that connects us to past generations and all the people who have walked this earth before us. Every grain of salt represents their stories, their challenges, and their victories. When we put salt in our shoes, we join an eternal bond of wisdom and resilience that crosses time and space, transmitting their spirit and strength in our footsteps." Faced with this revelation, the disciples were speechless, contemplating the depth of this apparently simple gesture. They understood that for Makoto, salt in shoes was not just an ancient practice or a symbol of protection and purification, but a connection to humanity itself and all the lives that have passed before them. Have you ever had the problem of sleeping in one position rather than another? Some people sleep on their stomachs, some on their right side, and some on their left side. Then there are those who love to do it curled up in a fetal position, and those who sleep on their backs. Again, there are those who love wearing pajamas and those who don't. There are those who love having blankets on, and those who want to feel free. Well, if you are among those who have never asked themselves about the problem, thanks to the Zen story that follows, you will discover what happens if you sleep on your left side. Stay until the end because what you will hear will leave you breathless and will make you seriously reconsider the way you are used to sleeping. In a quiet Buddhist monastery located among the mountains of Japan, immersed in the serenity of the gardens, the elderly and wise monk Shinzo decided to dedicate a special evening to sharing profound truths about the way we are used to sleeping. The moon, bright and round in the night sky, seemed to bless the atmosphere of contemplation that spread among the devoted disciples gathered in the main hall. Shinzo, sitting on a tatami, began to speak in a calm voice, as if his words were a light breeze that caressed the minds of those who listened to him. Today, dear disciples, we will see why sleeping on your left side is the best thing you can do for your physical health and emotional well-being, the monk began. We will explore together the profound connections between the practice of left-sided sleep, the benefits for our body, and spiritual awakening. Finally, you'll understand why Buddhist monks have been sleeping on their left side for centuries. While the disciples were increasingly fascinated and intrigued by the topic, Shinzo continued his speech. In the ancient Eastern tradition, the connection between the body, the mind, and the spirit was an essential part of the path to wisdom and balance, and sleeping on the left side has always been of great importance. This choice is not random, but reflects a profound understanding of the physiological and spiritual principles that guide the practice of sleep. The first advantage of sleeping on the left side, said the monk, is to achieve optimal lymphatic drainage. Lymph flows through our body, and it is important that it does so like a quiet river that flows gracefully through the earth. You should know that the left side of our body is the guardian of this vital flow because it carries with it a load of protein, glucose, and other substances. Sleeping on this side is like offering a clear path to the river, allowing our body to rid itself of toxins, much like a river carries the dry leaves of drifting trees. With a benevolent look, Shinzo turned to his disciples, masterfully narrating the second gift. The stomach and the pancreas are a bit like the deities of our internal temple, said Shinzo. When we lie on our left side, we create a sacred space for the dance of these two organs, which cause gastric juices to move with the grace of dancers in a theatrical performance. You see, sleeping like this isn't just a physical act. It's an invitation to an internal celebration, a silent celebration of enzymes preparing our body for a new day. The monk, happy to see the disciples so interested in his words, continued talking about the third gift derived from sleeping on the left side, purification, a true nocturnal ritual. Resting on your left side, he said, facilitates the flow of digestive waste, like a stream flowing through fertile soil. The intestine becomes the garden where nutrients are deposited, and in the morning, our body prepares for an elimination ceremony, a daily rebirth. Under the soft light that filled the room, Shinzo elaborated on another benefit of sleeping on the left side, talking about the love of the heart. Our heart is the ruler of our body, he said with a smile. By sleeping on the left side, we offer the heart a perfect backdrop for its work. The aorta, its messenger, starts in a majestic arch towards the left side, like a traveler crossing a bridge, making the journey easier and the blood flow more harmonious. The monk stood up slightly, as if dancing along with his tales, and continued with the fifth gift. And now let's talk about the spleen, the devoted handmaiden. This hidden organ, guardian of our life force, finds peace when we lie on our left side. Bodily fluids become messengers of this peace, making their way to the spleen like pilgrims arriving at a secret sanctuary, nourishing and invigorating. And how have you slept until today? Write it in the comments and let's discuss the topic. In the meantime, if you're enjoying the video, leave a like and share it. You will help us produce new content every day for your spiritual growth. With a deep gaze, Shinzo introduced the sixth gift with a touch of poetry. Like nature following the course of the river, sleeping on the left side is an act of connection with gravity, the silent master who guides our nightly journey. The force of gravity becomes the guardian of the pathways of our lymphatic drainage, a silent companion that accompanies our body through its purification ritual. In resting on the left side, the Master continued, we also find balance between body and mind. Sleeping on the left side is not just an act of comfort for the internal organs and for our body in general. Ancient Oriental wisdom teaches us that this way of resting enriches our health and our connection with the internal and external world. It is a true homage to life, which reveals itself in the dreams and quiet of the left side. Sleeping in this way, then, is not just a rest for the body, but an opportunity for inner and spiritual awakening. While the world lies in deep sleep, we, as practitioners of left-sided conscious sleep, immerse ourselves in the depths of being. It is a sacred moment in which the mind frees itself from the chains of everyday thought, opening subtle doors to universal awareness. Shinzo, still smiling at his disciples, explained the concept of the balance between yin and yang in sleep. The left side, in its more yin nature, envelops us like an embrace of the night. The kai that arises from this practice is a gift and an offering to our inner essence. Through concrete examples, Shinzo told of nights in which the monks, immersed in the practice of conscious sleep on the left side, felt the energy flow like a calm river crossing their being. The vital energy, in harmony with nature, danced while the body rested, creating a harmony that resonates in the entire monastery. The benefits of this practice, therefore, go far beyond the physical aspect, involving the spiritual one. Delving deeper into the analysis of the physical benefits, Shinzo told of elderly monks who, by embracing this practice, had experienced greater flexibility and strength in their meditation practice. Sleeping on the left side thus becomes a perfect complement to the search for enlightenment, preparing the ground for the mind and body, the monk said. Between one story and another, he underlined the importance of bringing this awareness into everyday life, making it a healthy habit to never give up. It is not only in the quiet of the monastery that we can cultivate this practice, he emphasized. Let us bring it with us into our homes, honoring our body as a temple in which the sacredness of the night resides. Shinzo, focusing on the sounds of the cicadas and the river that could be heard around the monastery, added that nature itself teaches us the importance of aligning our sleep with the flow of the world. The left side, like a leaf cradled by the wind, connects us to this eternal dance. As his disciples listened with great interest, Shinzo shared other important benefits of sleeping on the left side. Sleeping on this side, he said, facilitates breathing, creating a harmonious synergy between the flow of air and the beating of the heart. When you lie on your left side, your trachea and esophagus take on a more natural and straight position relative to your spine. This alignment facilitates the passage of air through the trachea and towards the lungs, promoting freer breathing. Additionally, the diaphragm, the main muscle involved in breathing, is located under the lungs. Sleeping on your left side allows your diaphragm to move more freely, promoting deep, smooth breathing. The location of the heart on the left side of the chest is another key element. Sleeping on this side reduces pressure on the heart and allows better blood circulation. Sleeping on your left side can help prevent acid reflux as well. With this position, the stomach sits lower than the esophagus, reducing the risk of gastric juices backing up into the esophagus. Moreover, Shinzo added, sleeping like this offers natural support to the spine, maintaining optimal alignment for a tension-free awakening. Have you ever noticed, asked the monk, that the spine has a natural S-shaped curvature? When lying on your left side, this position better reflects the natural anatomical curvature of your spine, minimizing stress on your discs and joints. Remember, said the monk, that sleeping on your left side is not only a way to make your body rest better, but becomes a path to awareness and spiritual growth. Just as Buddhist monks, being aware of the interconnection between body and mind, have always adopted the left side as the privileged position for sleep. You too should get used to doing so. This way, both your body and your mind will feel better. Do you often wake up between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning? Have you ever felt a sense of uneasiness or curiosity when this happens? In this video, thanks to a Zen story, we will see what it means to wake up recurrently at these times. Together, we will explore the mysteries behind these moments and discover how they can offer an opportunity for personal and spiritual growth. Stay until the end because you will discover that these nocturnal awakenings can reveal much more than you think. In an ancient Buddhist monastery located among the mountains of Tibet lived the monk Karo, famous for his vast wisdom. His lessons on awareness and compassion were renowned far and wide, and disciples came to him from afar to learn from his teachings. One evening, while twilight colored the sky with shades of red and gold, Karo gathered his disciples in the main hall to answer a question they had asked him several times. Why do some people wake up most nights between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock, while others don't? Are these awakenings phenomena related to chance, or do they have a meaning? Dear disciples, Karo began in a calm voice. Today, we will explore nocturnal awakenings and their connection to Eastern medicine and Buddhist wisdom. In Eastern medicine, Karo continued, night awakenings are believed to be linked to the body's energy meridians and their influences on us. Karo proceeded to explain how each nighttime waking time was associated with a particular organ or system of the body, and how Eastern medicine viewed these awakenings as signs of energetic or emotional imbalance that required attention and care. For example, Karo said, waking up between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning is associated with the lungs and emotions of sadness. This could indicate a need to address and heal deep emotional wounds, thus allowing our vital energy to flow freely. The disciples nodded, reflecting on their master's words and trying to apply them to their own experiences. One of them asked, "Master, how can we interpret nighttime awakenings in the light of Buddhist wisdom?"